exactly akachukua sura yake then akaitumia kuedit na akaiweka na very obscene photos and they went viral. So when I was in the village, I met an elderly woman and she asked me, "Mbona zile vitu gavana anafanya?" Hiyo ni mambo gani na wasichana wadogo? And I had to tell her, what, ma'am, hiyo picha sio kweli. Walichukua sura ya gavana wakaweka kwa mwili ya mtu mwingine ikakaa kama gavana. There is a question of deepfakes, even as we are talking about ChatGPT and all this other stuff for the wrong reasons. And allow me to give you an opinion as I wind up about what happened just after the Gen Z demonstrations. I know this is something that we have talked about a lot. People were depicting the president in coffins, or political leaders in coffins. Well, in as much as we have, what 34 as mentioned would tell you in the Constitution, we must not also run away from the fact that these freedoms have what? Limitations. You might not like William Ruto for being William Ruto, the president, or James Gitaka for being the chair of UJA, but if that freedom extends to depicting James Gitaka in a casket, Gitaka also is a son to someone, is a father to someone, is a brother to someone, is an uncle to someone. How are we then, are we trying to express our concerns by the use of AI, by depicting leaders in coffins and caskets, and they say, okay, this is all about freedom and this is how journalists are supposed to be doing? Misinformation and disinformation at the end of the day. So for those who are concerned, especially our friends from the MCK, I think you can see some of the concerns are coming out, that especially for upcoming journalists, either those of us who are here already, that where are we supposed to strike the balance? That we can use AI, but eventually we are not also killing the aspect of creativity in our newsrooms. And I resonate with most of them. I interact with some of the students, sure. Utapata mwanafunzi ukimwambia tunao stand up, I want you to explain something for us, just 3 minutes, they will really struggle. They really struggle. Sababu umezoea the aspect where you copy and paste, copy and paste. So mwisho wa siku they cannot defend an idea at ile ambayo naamini. Ndio maana ukienda TikTok, especially Gen Z, you give an idea, alafu the comments unaambiwa mbwei. It is, you can't blame them because they don't know how to argue for themselves. Unless if you are to allow them to go on ChatGPT, aweke hapo hiyo argument akulete, akukosea on the comment section. Ama kwambia kuenda. They just hurl insults at you. So, and the good thing is they are accepting, but they are struggling how they can balance kuendelea kuwa creative, soma, knowing the language, how to write, and also to make use of or to leverage on the use of AI. So I hope it has been an interactive session. Juma will strong with me. Let me give him the next opportunity so that he can lead us through. Thank you for your cooperation.
I was just joking around with him. I went to ChatGPT and then I was looking at some of the hotels in Eldoret, and it gave us Serena Hotel, Western Hotel, So you keep relying on that one at your own risk. Do your research well. Fine, it has the positive side, like most of us have done. Like there's also the negative side. So it can make your work easier, or to bring doom to you. Because right now we have a way of detecting if you've used ChatGPT. So you do anything in your exams, your lecturers already have, you do everything you make, there has to be something else. So if there's AI, there's something else. Because that is not the original story. And that is a problem we've had within the civil societies, because most of us report something and zingine ndio zinatokea. You see, so something needs to be done. We've come a long way, so let's embrace. Dan shared with us what he had gone through. They used to send news, ni tape, mini DV tapes. Unamaliza hiyo siku unapeana iende na ndege mpaka Wilson Airport. Hiyo news ya leo will come on air the following day saa 8. When politicians come, akienda Wilson akiland, unatuma mtu aenda achukue hiyo tape. So things have come a long way, and saizi things are digital. So very fast, between now and about 12, I want us just to move very quickly to, because my colleagues from the CSOs are here, and Nick is representing the Wasingishu CSO network, and our human rights team is here also. Remember, we're also talking about expressions of freedom. So as we check on freedom of expression, I just want to hear from your point of view. What are your thoughts on how best can we promote freedom of expression, freedom to the media as civil societies? So let me start with Benson because he came first. He's been a champion of human rights, and even right now he's still following up stories that are very sensitive. Some of the stories you may want to write, some of the stories, ukiona journalists hawataki kuandika story yao, don't blame them. They have been threatened 1,001 times in this town. Mpaka mtu anasema kwani nilikuja kukufa. Let me just do the stories za kawaida za ball, football na ishe. So, Karim, just briefly.
Asante. Good morning. Good morning. I'm grateful to be here this morning and have a conversation on media freedom. Probably nitakuwa na machache kuja kuhusu pia AI tool kwa sababu the nature of work that we do. Sometimes we do them under pressure. You can imagine sometimes you conflict and you are handling a sensitive matter. Na maybe hukuambia hata mtu unaenda kwa grao, unapata unadeal na kesi ambayo unaambiwa wewe unaguza leo red line ya untouchables. Unajua kuna watu ambao wanaita untouchables kwa hii country. Na umefika kwa grao unapata kwamba ni lazima tu ujitume. Na kwa sababu you are the voice for the minority, we never run away. We handle it head on. Kwa sababu again, if you keep our silence na kusema ya kwamba tununue woga, hatungekuwa hapa leo. Kwa sababu if you look at the progress ya media, kuna journalists ambao ni veterans kwa nchi ambao walipigwa rungu, walishikwa. Nakumbuka I was reading a book and biography of revolution ya media during the era. Some journalists that did sensitive story kama ya World kesi ya mtu kama Robert huko, some of them walikufa wakihakikisha kwamba wanataka highlight the issues ili family wapate justice, like eventually will lose their lives. Those are people that needs to be celebrated. Na wanafaa kuwa watu ambao wanaweza kutupa motisha, lakini pia we learn ni aje tunaweza kufanya vitu sensitive, vitu ambazo zinaweza kuleta revolution na mabadiliko kwa community, pia bila sisi kujiweka na kujiexpose kwa threats. Kwa sababu then that is very key. Because then when you are dead, hauna significance, hauna mwili. Ule mtu mwenye hapo hai ndio hapo na impact anaweza kufanya kitu na revolutionary kitu, si kweli? So one of the things ambayo nataka kusema ni kwamba kushare experiences ni kwamba field ambayo mko, I want you to know ya kwamba ninyi ndio macho ya umma. You are the people who can bring the changes that we want as a country. You are the people who can hold the state to accountability. Kuna mahali mimi mtu kama activist ndio hata sauti yangu iwezi kusikika vizuri. I must liaise na kinanganyingi so that mweze kunisaidia ku create content, niweze kufikia viewers ambao mimi ninafanya nini, nina target. So kwa job yangu ni challenges ambayo nilikuwa nikikumbatana nayo sana. Na nataka kusema kwamba kuna vile AI mimi kidogo kuna mali imenisaidia sana kwa sababu ni field, I'm handling a sensitive matter. At least nataka labda nifikie kimtai ama nifikie watu kadhaa, niwaambie niko mahali fulani na hapa sio nikitoka, tafadhali mkani mkijua kama pin location niko mahali fulani. AI tool imenisaidia sana na niliripoti in a minute niweka kwa mtandao. But Kenya huwa anajaribu kuhakikisha ni kwamba the information ambayo inafit kwa AI chat na kisha kwamba at least 80 to 70% ni content kutoka kwangu. Kwa sababu imagine niko mahali inaitwa Chekororwa, I want to create a story ama a debrief somewhere kama niko Chekororwa, village na unajua locality hizo majina AI iweze kufanya nini, kugenerate. So that means I have to feed it with those information so that kinajaribu kunisaidia ni grammarly na package vizuri so that ikienda ni kitu ambacho mtu anaweza kufanya nini, kuelewa. So one of the things is kwamba pia AI kuna advantages zake, lakini inategemea unafanya nini, unaitumiwa. However, mimi ningependa kuwa caution kwa sababu niko experience kidogo kwa sababu ya content creation kwa sababu ya job tunafanya, we do a lot of reporting. If you are not careful, AI inaweza kudisappoint vibaya sana kwa sababu hizo grammar, language, alafu najua innovation yake kutoka Afrika ilitoka nini majuu. So unapata majority ama percentage kubwa ya content ya AI ni za wapi, za huko. So if you use hiyo app bila ku recheck imeandika ni hiyo content ni create, ni ile kilikuwa unataka, is it the message that you wanted to pass through? Itakueleza kwa sababu utapata mtu ambaye ameisoma vizuri atakuuliza maswali, kwa sababu one of the things ambayo kitu inaweza kuhimiza ndani inatufanya tunakuwa lazy to an extent that unaipea command ikufanyie shughuli, wewe hata uangalie imeandika nini, unatuma. Kama wewe mwanafunzi labda ulikuwa umetumia lecturer, so lecturer utajua hii sio content ya huyu mwanafunzi, hii ni AI generated, so to an extent haitakusaidia, itakuumiza, si ndio? Now on matters human rights and how nimekuwa nikiengage na hii AI chatbot. For instance, right now we are dealing with a very sensitive matter currently. Na ni kitu ambayo imekuwa changamoto kubwa sana. In Uasin Gishu ama country right now tumekuwa na changamoto kubwa sana ya mashamba. Nasikia TD ameguza. And ningependa kueleza when you are also dealing with such cases. Number one, cases kama hizo dealing na usahihi. Unafaa kuwa mtu mwenye pia kwa high level of integrity. Kwa sababu kesi ya mashamba ni sensitive. Number one ni cash cow. Lakini katika hiyo harakati hiyo kadri kuna maisha ya watu ambao ndio at stake. So wewe kama journalist unafaa kuelewa nini inafaa kuwa interest yako hapo. Si endgame inafaa kuwa justice. Endgame. Si kweli? So one of the things ambayo ni changamoto tunapatana nayo kwa ground wakati tuna handle kesi kama hii ni hiyo advances ya wale watu ambao umehit na umeguza, kutafuta kisababu ya kuweza kuleta kwa meza ili ukuwe accomplice. And you know they can make you an accomplice without you knowing they are making you an accomplice. You are doing a story, mtu amekuletea amedhulumiwa, wewe umefanya story, na mtu amegundua kwamba you are doing a story about that same person of land. Simple. Wanakutumia threats hata kwa simu. Wewe kwa sababu ya uoga hata uja consult maybe your seniors or your comrades, unaamua kukalia nini ile story. And yet you know very well ya kwamba mwenye kupea story alikwambia I'm at risk. And you know kwa story ya shamba a day or even 2 hours ni nyingi sana. You cannot know if somebody has disappeared. Labda wewe ndio mkuu na ungesave life ya wewe mtu. So those are some of the challenges about the case kama nini ya hizi land cases. However, as a journalist, hizo cases ambao unasikia ni sensitive sometimes ni watu wanaogopa. It can also make you thrive. How? Number one, you are sensitive. Number two, don't sit on sensitive information alone ukitaka ownership. Ni kama football match. Kuwa assist. Kwa kupeana pasi kishwa kenye unajua uweze ku handle. Umepata story, ni sensitive, unaona kweli sasa zingine kwa match, especially the youthful journalist. Be careful, msikuwe enticed. Money comes, but at the right time. Ni pesa ambayo ni value ukitaka kukula kwako na hizi ni worth it. Ni kweli. So one of the things ambayo ningependa ku encourage kama young upcoming journalists, when you come across a sensitive case, especially these cases of shamba, human rights violations, don't sit on a story and you want to do it alone and you want to own it. Ukiona ni case sensitive, in everyone and in every field there is a mentor. For instance, me I have a mentor here, and I'm grateful that he's allowed. Nikipata kitu sensitive naona kweli hii kitu ni sensitive, na ikienda public na jina yangu nitapata nini umaarufu, lakini naangalia then do I have the experience in case it fire back, how will I cushion, how will I handle it? Naona bana hii kitu ni mzito, I pin in, namwambia Kimtai this story mimi naona ni mzuri, lakini mimi kivyangu capacity yangu naona siwezi kufanya nini we handle, how do I go about it based on the experiences in Yamana. Naambia kuja, let us sit down, tunakaa chini, naambia hii hapana, let us look at the dangers, how we can leverage this, tutakanya ofisi gani na gani before these things come out, so that even when it's come out, ule mtu mwenye labda ni target anapata mahali imefika, haiwezi kuwa relaxed. Umenipata? So one of the things ambayo ningependa kuonekana ni kwamba when you are doing a story, kuwa na companion. Usipende kufanya story peke yako. Mara mingi when you are so independent that you want to do your own things alone, unakuanga katika harakati ya hatari, kwa sababu it is easily you can be compromised. Sababu ndio pia shetani anaingilianga hapo, si ndio? So always have a mentor, have a companion, kwa sababu it is also very important for your security and for your safety. Kuwa na mtu mwenye watches your back, si ndio? And then mimi I am one person that necessarily sana journalist, kwa sababu a lot of progress and development in this country has been achieved courtesy of strong ambao walikuwa passionate na kazi ambao wanafanya. If you are not motivated, if what you are doing is not being compelled by something, mara mingi kuna uwezekano ya fall ama kuanguka. Kwa sababu gani? Hautakuwa unaona kisababu ya kuweza kupursue that course. Mtu hawezi kufanya kitu vizuri, kitu ambayo is not passionate about. Si ni kweli? So always have something that makes you feel I really need to do this. Si ndio? Kile kitu ambayo inakupea motisha kisababu ya wewe kupursue kenye unafanya. Kitu ambayo inakuprepare kupush what you are doing. The fourth state imesaidia sana hii nchi where we are. And one of the things ambayo imekupatia sana ni freedom ya media. Na mali mimi nahisi kuna mali media inafanyika, huwa mimi ninakaa in and I've been working very closely with media hapa. Nikipata mali opportunity inaona hapa, inaweza kupea hawa watu ka platform. Nina link na chairman, naambia chairman, nimeona kanika hapa, can you try it? It can give you a space. And that's why today we are here. Kwa sababu ya hiyo nini? Hiyo synergy, partnership. Unaona? So there is also very important, ama kuna muhimu kubwa sana nyinyi kwa partners na watu kama civil society, work very closely with grassroots organization, work very closely with the community, kwa sababu it is through the community that people can get access to stories that kama sio kuwa na network, otherwise ni kuja wapi? Kwa public. Because then sometimes people need to go on the ground to look for stories. Kwa sababu there are a lot of things on the ground that are happening, ingelikuja kwa attention yenu, labda watu wangeumia zaidi. For instance, Shakahola massacre. If Shakahola massacre, maybe a journalist would have got that story mapema, maybe tungepoteza maisha wale watu, tungepoteza wapi? Pale. So maybe hii kazi is not about kwa ofisi sana. Msikoba on independent kwa mambo na media. And that's why kuna risk sana ya AI. Mujitume kwa ground. Develop social network with the community, with the CVBOs, with the churches, opinion leaders. Have your own social network in the community where you can easily get stories. Amefanyika sahihi. So that through that you can easily level the issues as a community. There's a complicated mapema to save certain situations. On matters you are at 60 people to achieve whatever you want to achieve. So you is going to are a big foundation and strength kuhakikisha kwamba we can achieve bigger and better, kuhakikisha kwamba we have a safer society in this country. So asanteni sana, God bless you.
I'm trying to save some time so that they also have questions to ask you. So that you have that questions to them on how better to improve. I want to also to appreciate the presence of other colleagues who joined in. Our senior colleague, Mr. Dagala, is here. He's still here ever since we were young. He's still here. Where you have to umeanza tu Gen Z ushachoka na maisha. Dagala is still here. Now, one thing about Dagala, you will never see him kwa sweater amevaa. Hakuna hata kunyeshe barafu. So he has a secret that you need to talk to him nicely. Akwambie. He rarely gets sick. And he's still there. He's still practicing parallel right now. So thank you so much. Karibu. I've seen Judy. Judy, is Judy around? Lynn. Oh, Lynn, sorry. I keep... Lynn is here. Thank you from the Standard. Someone else came in. Sikwan no recognize. Yeah, Mwalimu, lecturer from Eldoret National Polytechnic, is here. We also have a colleague, Jina imepotea all of a sudden. Kiplimo, yes, Timo. Umevaa kofia sasa hata it look different. From CAS, thank you so much. Nani mwingine aliingia, we didn't see. All right, thank you so much. All right, so we still have two. So I'll let Mr. Kimtai, you're okay. Now the floor is yours. Share you suffered. Mr. Kimtai has suffered. Thankfully, he's using the media so well. So very briefly, you can just share your story and how you can improve the media freedom.
Thank you so much. And Russian from Amali to watch a class video. Chairman of was there. Not to be as we. So however, tunashukuru umetualika. So Kimtai Kirui, I have a passion for human rights. And now media very blessed. Media in this country and in this region. Because camera nikiwa ambayo inatoa what the society is. Microphone inaeneza what is there. Tunaambiwa wanawake huwa kufa because they share their stories. So if we don't share our stories as a country, as a county, as a community, kuna penye tunaenda. And media is one tool that the government takes. You can turn the camera towards the state. Lakini napenda kama za zile una chant propaganda ya state. So we once more want to say thank you to the media houses in Eldoret for the much that they've done to us and this county. So we bring them to what you've done, the Mania president, Mama nasema hivi tusiende, gavana nasema hivi tusiende, hapa ni kwa president. But we thank you and media people for bringing on this course. However, what was the start of beginning to tunashukuru. And the young journalist to more data from here about two things. One, the objective in your reporting as we human rights are supported. The moment I'm also biased, the moment kuna kazi tulifanya na mtu anaitwa Lumwamu, alikuwa senior journalist hapa. Alikuwa ndio alikuwa akisa kitabu. Kana polisi. Police officers wenyewe. Mbaya kuna moja zaidi ya committee. Ila au kufuatilia. So mtu unapata gari naenda. Unaenda kuripoti mwenye anako kwa ubini mwenye libari yako. Ubishio kesi kuna mahali penye naenda. So we push this thing mpaka Lumwamu aliripoti. So tukatumia askari from Nairobi DCI. Alifanya uchunguzi akamaliza. Baada ya kumaliza kanipiga simu. Ndio mimi match lakini namba yako ndio na account commander. Kaniambia kitu moja na kusaidia tu ikiwa walikuwa mkuu. Ni kwa sababu ile vitu ulisema au kuongeza na kupunguza. Ile vitu Lumwamu alireport on hakutoa na kuongeza. It was accurate. Baba mtu mwingine anasema yenyewe though I'm exposed lakini ile vitu amesema jambo hakuna hiyo pain. Are you getting the point? So I can that is the right thing you're supposed to do. If you give us the right information, we will execute. And the problem is, saa zingine mnatuletea vitu ambaye tukijaribu kufuatilia haina mguu, haina nini, so wanakosa chochote. Second, ile ya Finland, my first choice. Maybe and we get it between G. And what you wanted was not pinning down the president, pinning down the county government resolution, pinning down any other person. It was justice. Auto intelligence. Why we going to cover security among people and police? That's good. No, if you were successful in town, it was about the government was paying us. Kwa maana the cause we are championing for haina siasa. It's not aigemei pengine Mandago aigemei nani aigusi president. The justice ya watoto ambao wameviwa back. Are you seeing those kind of things? Despite the fact that somebody was saying, watu wanataka kuchafua career president, watu wanataka kuchafua county government. Kuna kitu moja ambacho tulifanya story. Ikachafua hata vile wanaongea na Center. The moment politicians wengine wajui waliingilia, ikachukua angu ya kusema ni Wakikuyu against the Kalenjins. Unaona hiyo jinsi vile sasa kupeleka the story. Sasa sio story ya Rescue Center. Mtu anaweza kusema wanapiga Wakikuyu. Hawasemi kuna mtu ameumizwa ambaye ni strict child. Whether the discussion in a certain forum jana ya femicide and whoever issue the commissioner, you start inviting people now on profile. When we have a task force from the president, like inasemekana it's a public participation, no what wanakuja. You don't write letters to people. Umeanza profile ya kupata kwamba this one is meant for commercial sex workers. You don't write letters. Use your chiefs. What that means watu wakuje katika public participation. So we usually attract problem to ourselves. So media level, kitu ilitusaidia na media level, they never attracted problems. They never became partisan. They were never biased. They were never compromised. So kila mtu akaona ya kwamba hii kosi yao ni genuine na mlisapotiwa na society. So young journalists copy from this cinema. Mwisho wanasema issue ya kwamba compromise issue ya pesa. Unaona the moment unakula pesa mtu, alafu unapatia journalist mwingine story. Sasa unajua the source ni nani? Utabaki. So if you don't want to publish something, ukule pesa mtu wewe na masa na wachana. Do I not encourage it? But once umeamua ama usichukue pesa lakini wacha hiyo story. So for us to operate in a more free area is because we are doing the right things at the right time, integrity to the do, morality to the do. Other people would support us. The government, they feel bad. Lakini ukiangalia side yenye watu wana support sisi, raia wana support sisi, inakuwa shida. Kama ile ya media hapa, kuna time alikuwa ametagetiwa mbaya. Ametagetiwa ni kesho. Siku moja kwa Silver Line, mtu mmoja kauliza tu, yes, wanasema hii media hapa inatuchafua, nataka tuende mambo. Ile maneno wanasema ni uongo ama ni kweli? It was asked. Wanasema ni ukweli, so mnaenda kupiga nini watu wenye natoa what is happening in the dark? We should support these people. Na hiyo kitu tunafikiria gavana kazi kwa nifai temo ati aende kuongea naye. Ulienda? It's because anaona community imerudi behind need help. But the moment unaanza kupata hii pesa kidogo, that's what is killing us. Even as human rights, pesa kidogo. So, human rights is something that's dynamic, and a journalist is representing the public in safeguarding your interest ya kupeana information. Kwa sababu mimi nikipewa kamera hizi nasema so and so ni mwizi. Ukanipatia platform. Mbona upige, mbona usikuje kwangu? So we want to encourage as a society now ambayo tumesaidia when we tell people let us use our media vizuri. We support our media houses, our journalists. To Kenya tuko. In West Pokot as the say. Hiyo kitu ilikuwa mbaya. Na West Pokot we are sorry to say so because wale watu walikuwa threatened journalists from Eldoret are fellow journalists. Even us sisi wa human rights kuna wenzetu tuna set wenzetu wengine. So unapata pale wanaambia watu wa Eldoret msikuja hapa. Kwa sababu kuna vitu wanakula. Kuna illegal mining. One story was that at media hub. Kisha yake watu walikamatwa. Msata uliambiwa Msata aliambiwa kichwa itaenda chini.
I'm here.
Walikamata wote. Walifungwa. So yo illegal mining imefungwa. Watu walikuwa na 4 million. Na walikuwa wameambia msikuje pale chini. The story that watu on air walikaa chini security team ikasemekana hii watu waitwe wafasio wewe bad. But ile mambo report ikashikana na what the DCI wamefanya uchunguzi na ikathibitika ya kwamba kweli this illegal mining, kweli kuna wizi wa shamba West Pokot. Mtu mmoja amepewa 39,000 acres, mtu mmoja 39,000 acres, mtu hapo anataka kwa suruali yake. Na ukifuatilia gavana kwa nyuma. Ukifuatilia kuna MP moja nyuma. Ukifuatilia nasikia PS hapo nyuma. Ukifuatilia, but we did go on that line of politics. We went not to highlight on the issues on the ground, not the political intrigues always informed. So just tumekaa chini na PS mwenyewe na watu wa UDP. Na kwa hivyo wakasema watakamata. So naona watu walato wanaenda ndani. Na wale katasha wasipigwe transfer. After what you did media hata transfer kwa matengeneza kwa kula 34 million ikasemekana wasipigwe transfer pale hiyo kitu ishe wakamatiwa hapo. So mimi I champion for media more than anything else. Media want to protect because all the stories are lying in hewani. Ile mambo yanafanyia once kitu imeenda hewani, you know watu wanaanza kila mtu anaanza kurudi nyuma. Once you report on something, that information belongs to the public, release. So, thank you so much. Eldoret media. Wengine lini unafuza kwa nyumbani? Ama au kwa sawa. Standard, they building network for us. So, media freedom. That's just it. We have our stories which are verifiable, which are objective. And kuna kitu moja I was doing a research on some issues for an Australian university was over. Let me to me like Kenya. Yeah, we are doing things because we want to put things to make somebody a president. We are reporting on something because we want to bring somebody down. We are reporting on something because we want somebody to make somebody a leader, a governor, or whatever. Hiyo ndio inafanya sisi hata sisi watu wa human rights tunapigwa. We align ourselves along certain lines. But if we know what's the issue, let's say that there's a problem. The problem is not because we know those children are killed. They disappear to date. So that you come and the mambo ya organ trafficking or whatever it is. Wakaona kweli we were going for that issue ya watoto. Nobody amongst us was touched. So the NCCC and the NGO. And that's what we really say. Thank you for the media here. You are professional. And I thank you for your places. On the issue of AI, you know, AI is tomorrow. Even as we use AI. AI is in a human feeling, in a human intuition, in a human emotion. It's supposed to enhance our work. Even me, when I'm doing something, I'm doing AI. Kufanya kazi fulani, karibu kazi ya Professor Michael kupatia aswa and so on the same line. So inanipatia hiyo same data at the same time. Once naangalia na okay, can you do this? If once nimekuja then I have to sit down and write in my own language, in my own way, in my own words. See vile AI inasema sasa unaweza kutumia AI hata kuandika barua girlfriend. Just one got washing that. Lazima mtumie AI. So kesho mkiwa kwa nyumba hata ujuzi use kwa sababu the words never came from you. No. The words never came from you. Unaweza kutumia AI sasa kujibu vipi? Na bibi na kutumia AI. So AI inatutoa from that human feeling tunakuwa mechanical. So inakutoa kwa kazi. Saizi mdozi yako kuita kwa can you explain about this work? How do you help? How do you tell? Lakini ile kazi umetengeneza ni brilliant. Umeelewana? So tuwachana na yeye sana. Yeye sana anasikia wapite tu. I have this thing and this and this. Once umemaliza, ambia file for me, polish for me, and Aisha. So thank you so much. God bless you. And as I've said, media don't depend inaanzia sisi tusimame. Once tumeweka ukweli kwa meza, the rest of the people do what we do. And if we are uongo, we are attracting unnecessary enemies towards ourselves. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. Let's appreciate Mr. Kiri one more time for the good work they're doing. And since the Human Rights team, the Defenders Coalition, is seeking for those who want to win these awards in human rights, these are the guys to consider because of the work they are doing. Sindio? Yeah, so thank you so much for being bold and being there. Most of us may not do what you are doing. So it requires a bold mind to do what you're doing. In a Benson here, you know, is fighting for rights. The watu wa Kifkara na wao wenyewe wametaka. They are not even fighting for their own rights. So they keep going there with Mr. Kirui and the rest. So wengine kwa kimumu, you know, this access to justice is a very complex thing. And I think that's why journalists have also been trained on the access to justice also to do that. Thank you so much. I think I still have how many minutes? Because we were to do by 12:15. But let me invite Nick. Nick always represents Civil Society Network, which also houses the Wasingishu Journalists Association, because the association is registered as a CBO. Apart from just being the hub, which is on its own, there's also the CBO part, and they are taking active role within the CSO network as the media. So Nick karibu sana as part of our board members in the CSO network. Good afternoon. Good afternoon. Good afternoon. You know, journalists must be having big voices and loud voices for the community to hear the business. Because many ndio kioo ya jamii. My name is Omito. I work with the Center for Human Rights and Mitigation, a strong organization registered here in Wasingishu. But I'm here courtesy of Wasingishu Civil Society Network. Wasingishu Civil Society Network is a network that brings all the civil society actors within Wasingishu for one reason. The main reason is security. Our security lies in numbers. Based on that, I really want to congratulate the hub. It's called that umbrella. I think it was the first to spring out within this region. And it has really worked well with the Wasingishu Civil Society Network. And it has also provided security for journalists that are members of that organization. We all agree that our security lies in numbers. We are supposed to look at freedom, press freedom in Kenya and in our region. Press freedom. Our media houses or our journalists faced with any threats in this region? The answer is yes. And that's why I loved the umbrella organization that has actually provided that security and checked the media freedom around here. Journalists are faced with a myriad of threats while undertaking their duties. And as the Wasingishu Civil Society Network, we have endeavored to work very closely with our media guys within this region. Because actually, civil society work or civil society actors and journalists have a symbiotic existence. They must just coexist. We need journalists
and they also need us as newsmakers. We give them information. We work with the communities on the ground. And I believe journalists actually have a lot of faith in us as civil society actors because our information in most cases is verified, is accurate, because we deal with the source. So once we come to engage the journalists, we give them that credible information, because if we don't give them the credible information and they write stories that cannot be authenticated, we are also endangering their work. And that's how they face threats in terms of their duties. So that symbiotic existence must just be guarded jealously between the civil society actors and the journalists. Journalists have been killed, including Wasikishu. A little bit, I've been around for some time. I worked with the late John Kitui, who was a journalist here and was murdered after the ICC debacle. I think that's a threat to the journalists. I remember that time the journalists that were engaging, senior journalists that used to engage with, I think they just come around and tell us, I remember. And they were all affected emotionally and psychologically because of the death of the late John Kitui, because that was targeting the media. So those are threats that journalists face around here in Wasikishu. There is another aspect of negative ethnicity. I don't know, and I can't explain why we have so many journalists from around Kenya who practice in Eldoret. Somehow it's that way. And at times when they cover stories, they are not looked at in terms of their profession. Somebody looks at them in terms of their tribe. Huyo Mluya, huyo Mkikuyu. You see, he's fighting us. So those are things you need to look at so keenly, because it affects the freedom of the media around here. I'll not be very free to write something more so that it's criticizing the government or the county government if I come from outside Wasikishu. And it also affects even us within the civil society. So we must come together and guard that freedom, because without that freedom, our interventions will be affected kabisa. And then there's another aspect of forced disappearance of journalists. And is it false? No. It's forced. Forced disappearance of journalists. I'm not using AI. It's false. Forced disappearance. You see a journalist around. There's a journalist here who used to be called Kanini. Those who remember Kanini. People did, yes. We worked very closely with Kanini, and after the post-election violence, Kanini was forced to disappear from this region. He was forced to leave Eldoret. I met him one time in Nairobi. He was not doing so well, because that actually had affected his professional duties. So that forced disappearance, you can disappear yourself because you have been forced to disappear, or you can be abducted by the state mechanisms. So that actually affects a lot the media freedom around here. And as you come to practice journalism around here, those are the threats that you should be wary about. And then there is, of course, I talked about smear campaign. I wake up today as a politician. I start accusing Gitaka that, for Gitaka to write my story, I must give him a brown envelope. You see? Just merely, it's the maligning his name. Maybe because at one time or another, he wrote a story that I felt was negative to me. So I start that campaign amongst my peers, all the journalists in Eldoret. You must bribe them for them to do stories. And you see, once it reaches you, already it will affect you negatively because you never received the money and somebody is going around tarnishing your name that you have to be paid to do a story. So that will hamper your freedom in terms of your professional delivery. So we should be very, very careful. First of all, let's not start engaging in that, because if we start engaging in that, it gives the smear campaigners a chance to talk about it. Tukae weupe kama pamba, we guide our profession so that we remain respected. Nobody will start it if it was never there anyway. If you give a chance for it to be there, you give a chance to start it. And then, I think generally, those are some of the threats that affect the media freedom around. And as I've said, once the media freedom is affected, our spaces within the civil society are also affected. It takes the media for the civil society to be noticed. And it takes the civil society for the media to deliver as well. So as I've said, it's a very, very symbiotic existence that must be guarded jealously. Those times, I used to make news. I was a source of information during those days. I think I realized that in the civil society, honestly, you cannot make a step without the media. And once you are delivering within the civil society, you are actually doing what you're supposed to do, and you feel your life is threatened. Your first police officer, those days we used to address media within the police stations. When we used to call up on our colleagues who had been arrested. And I think after those press releases, most of us felt very safe because the police now feel, because they know that if they touch you, the media will raise the alarm. So our first protectors, our frontline protectors, as civil society actors, is the media. And I'm also happy because when the media also feels threatened, they also call us around. They call us, and we make that noise. These days, it's a little bit preaching here, because I can't shout a lot. Maybe I hear that you want to shout sana. So when they shout at the top of their voices, somebody listens. Na nasema wakala na media. So we protect them and they protect us. That is the coexistence that we have. And that is how we guard that freedom. Because without their freedom, they can also not protect us. I don't remember the day I have missed out on celebration of Media Freedom Days. I've been attending, though these days I'm not invited as well. So it's a very, very good time joining our colleagues in the media fraternity to celebrate those days, because as I've said, they are our frontline protectors. And those few remarks, I want to say thank you so much.
Thank you so much. Let's appreciate Nick one more time. Asante sana. I think the other ones were celebrated at a children's home where we went and cooked. Then the previous year we planted trees. The other year we went to Kipkaren and did a cleanup exercise. Last year we went to Ilula home and we went to cook again. So that's why we've been moving that way. This year we also went to visit children with the autism on Saturday, on that day. So I think that's why. But now for this kind of session, we will not be funny. In fact, a week later, you're to go now, okay, now I can at least have some invitations. Those zingine zinakwanga ni outdoor. Asante. And I'm just speaking on their behalf.
Well said.
They should still explain why they did not invite you to the children's homes. Yeah, asante. Thank you so much. There's a lot of challenges we've had, and I really want to appreciate that the Media Council imetushikilia sana. Or else, tungekuwa tulisha give up, tumepotea, tumeenda. And we are still looking at, in fact, enhancing the other press clubs that we have. So, this moment now was for the Media Council of Kenya. Mr. Major is here, but just before he comes, 2 minutes, I've seen our colleague Collins Kemboi, who is the secretary of the CSO network, is in. You can just say hi because umechelewa. It's one press freedom day.
Alright, thank you.
Yeah, unaona vile vile nyinyi mnatuflotisha tukikuja kwa Zen. But you've been well represented by Mr. Kimutai, Benson is here, and Nick is here, they have represented well. So he's also a human rights defender, HRD. You know, anyone who is a HRD, at least they know what it means. So thank you so much for that. All right, so at this time, ladies and gentlemen, I want to welcome Media Council of Kenya, very well represented by our coordinator, Mr. Joseph Mecha, to take us through the next session, and I hope we'll be able to learn. Sindio? Asante sana, let's appreciate him.
Thank you very much. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon once again.
Good afternoon.
Myself, I'm a trained journalist, and of course, as we share these, views, I understand because I've been in the field. I know what is going on. I know the challenges and all that. And also, I'm a certified mediator. Yeah. So I understand when people have just sat for a very long time. And the level of concentration, nata kusikizana kidogo hawezi kukua. So for that one person who is saying, I wish tumekuwa tumemaliza, don't worry, I'll take the shortest time possible just to discuss a few things that you might maybe be aware of. So just briefly, because I need to just touch on press freedom and then also on the issue of AI briefly. Just to say that proper identification is key whenever you're doing a story. I assume that if you're working for a certain media outlet, you need to have a card, showing that you're working for that media house. And also you need to have a press card from the Media Council of Kenya. And do proper, representation. Introduce yourself, say unataka kupata information plan and all that. It's key. Although we are getting a challenge that even when you are wearing even a press jacket and all that, we become a target, an easy target, because those who do not want to hear facts will always target you easily, because now they'll see you in those jackets. Talking about investigative journalism, sometimes due to the sensitivity of the nature of work that you're doing, we are forced to use what we call subterfuge to get information. Hidden cameras, hidden recorders and all that. But as my colleagues here just said, is that you need to be very careful. Yeah, whenever that you're doing that, always be in a group. For example, you'll be doing some investigative pieces in conflict-prone areas, so that then in case of anything, you can get some help. In terms of dressing, even the shoes that you wear and all that are also important
something that is key to consider, so that then in case of any chaos and all that, you are able to navigate. The funny thing about our work is that we are not. Kazi yetu ni ya kukasirisha wenye wapendi ukweli. If you see government pressing you, for example, they know that you're going to bed with the government, or maybe this information there, or maybe there's something that you're not doing right. Yeah? But the bottom line is that do it objectively. Accuracy, fairness is key. Yeah. Bora tu unajua kwamba kazi unafanya iko sawa, kwa accurate ndio na don't fear. Just do your work. Then there's this question that I was asking in a certain session. That, for example, you have like maybe a politician is a good friend of yours, maybe your employer has been involved, for example, in a corruption case. How do you handle that? Because we need to balance. We are protecting your job, you're trying to protect your job, and then you also want to inform the public. We encourage that if possible, you can do the story, for example, privately, and share with someone somewhere to share that story. So long as your goal is you want to inform the public on what is happening. You want to bring the officials into account and all that. Ensuring accountability and all that. So it's important. And as my good friend here has just said, is that let's avoid this Chobasha. I'm a journalist, I understand what is happening. You're going to do a story somewhere and someone appreciates you. Someone may talk about it, and this pogoda and all that. Let that not compromise whatever that you're doing. Let that not compromise your professionalism. Yeah. Then there's this issue of blackmailing. You're following a story that is no public interest. Yeah, you're following a celebrity, you're following politicians, and then you want to, get some, kickback and all that, simply because you have very sensitive information about that person. Yeah, let's avoid that. People's private life and all that, achana na. You do not tufanya tuna people. Yeah, people private life and all that. I had a session with female politicians, and they said they have had this experience whereby journalists, use their private life to bring them down. For example, single mothers. Sema sasa huyu hata kijua ndio and then the government is using such, aspect to bring someone down. So, and then kind of coverage and all that. So, what I'm trying to say is, there's that rapport with, these news sources. There's that trust from the public. How do we build that? Accurate reporting and, being fair in our reporting. Then, just briefly to tell you what the Media Council does in case you are involved in such, harassment and attacks. Many journalists, of course, the press index has gone down simply because of, attacks on journalists, because they are doing some investigative reporting and all that. As a council, we've invested in safety trainings. Yeah, despite financial constraints and all that, we've done our best to ensure that we train journalists on safety issues. For example, you're going to a conflict area. How do you navigate? How do you record? Yes, tuko na wajibu wa kuripoti, lakini pia maisha yetu, ndugu yangu hapa alisema tu anajua nitazungumzia hiyo, lakini maisha yetu ni muhimu zaidi. We need to take care of ourselves. So we take journalists to that safety training, and of course, we also issue short courses in case we feel that journalists have been harassed and their freedom has been violated. We issue short courses to warn those who target the media. And of course, security dialogue that targets key stakeholders in security agencies, for example. We've done several trainings on how to relate to the media, targeting police, informed officers. And Of course, if maybe you've done an investigative report and you feel that your life is threatened, we also provide like safety, we take you to safe places. Just recently, there's a case in Nakuru where the journalist was shot. We gave some support, some financial support, kama ni kidogo, relocation and all that. Until now, kila kitu was settled. That's when she came back to our work. And many other cases, depending on the intensity. Of course, even treatment. Yeah, maybe umelemewa kidogo kwa matibabu umejika. But we do that for those journalists that we recognize. How do we recognize? Through accreditation. So, kind of like that. Tunakujua kupitia accreditation. So also it's good that you ensure that if you have an accreditation card, update it. Kila month on update. If you have it, kindly apply. Because that's the only way. Unaulizwa, na huyu mwanahabari mwenye amepigwa msike namba yake ni gani? Immediately we find out that you are not in the list, you are not in the system, then inakuwa vigumu sana kuingilia kati na kusaidia. Okay, about AI, because we're talking about this and this reporting or this journalism. We can leverage AI. I would say AI is here to stay. It is there. But what matters is how do you utilize it? As we try to embrace this dilution of this very important innovation, we need to also be very, 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 keen to ensure that there's that originality. When my brother here was presenting, alisema mambo ya pata wewe ni mecha, badala accent yako itoke kama Mkenya halisi, inatoka kama mzungu wa USA. So I came to realize that even your accent makes your story, original. I know most of us, we struggle so much to kupoteza hiyo accent. Sitaki kuongea kama Mkisi, kumbe sasa hiyo hapo ndo uone. So anyway, what I'm trying to say is that originality, of the content that you do. Ifanye tu vizuri, I can supplement, but the bottom line is that there's a lot of flexibility in human nature. Kuna vitu utaangalia, kuna some of the things that will require to come to the ground to get the facts right. Then there's this issue of intellectual property. I think now it should come as a question, because as a guru of power, then how do we balance? Ndio AI imechukua nini content from kila mahali kaleta, but then this issue of intellectual property, I think maybe we can respond to that later. And is it necessary to acknowledge that this content that I've created is AI generated, or to make some flesh in there? I don't know. I think that one can also be addressed. Now, very quickly, let me take you through my small presentation on how to report on matters, conflicts, how to, the issue about the peace journalism. And I've just thought about it in this way. For you, maybe to ensure that there's peace in the society, you need to report accurately, fairly, and ensure that you don't incite people against each other. Yeah? So the issue of hate speech now comes in, whereby how you report matters. For example, an MP, a newsmaker, just uttered some insightful remarks somewhere. Kasema sasa mimi hii community ama hawa watu live with, this human entities, vigingi, madoa and all that. What we use in Kenya. And then kwa sababu ni news, is a newsmaker, just copy and paste, just share the way it is. Then the question is, are we doing more good, or we just, tunaendelea to glorify politics and all that. What I'm trying to say is, censor that information. Before you share any information, you must do a proper censorship. Yeah, not anything. Si kwamba fulani amesema maybe a clip, or maybe you can do away with that story. You feel that whatever that you're going to do, maybe that reporting can maybe do more harm than good. Of course, hate speech. Nikiwa shule, nilikuwa naambiwa kwamba hate speech sasa hivi kama mtu amekuongea vibaya, hiyo ni hate speech. Mtu akipiga mshenio kuhusu mechi vile kichwa yake sio inakaa, hiyo ni hate speech. Let's not confuse. Hate speech inakuwa ile time umegawa a group of people against others. Someone incites a group of people against a certain group. For example, kanisa against kanisa fulani, community against community fulani. A group of people. Something that is, has an impact when we talk about peace. So, kindly let's be very careful how we report. Sometimes we might be, tempted to report some stories that can put us in a very awkward position. We have various categories of hate speech. There's that incitement to violence, just directly, just a direct thing. Some is done, ignorantly, but ignorance is not a defense. And as a journalist, we assume that you need to know what you should do, what you don't do. So tusijificha hapo kwa ignorance kidogo. Of course, hii kuita watu within humanizing people in groups, madoa, mnajua hayo maneno. So please be very careful on how you use this content. Yeah. Unaweza pata there's a content, maybe as someone has uttered such remarks, it's good that you censor properly, so that then you don't become an agent of such remarks. And of course, early warnings. Kama sasa sahizi uchaguzi uko 2027, tuanze tu kuwa prepared psychologically. Si unakumbuka vile walitufanya? Psychologically you're preparing the community. Si unakumbuka vile tulifukuzwa pale kwa majani chai, ama pale kwa mlima, ama pale kwa quarry. People now will start preparing. Yeah? And in case there's any trigger, hata mtu apige nduru ni mke na mume walikuwa wanapigana. Utasikia wametuanza. So there's that, that mindset that this can also happen. So kuna vile watu wanaanzanga hivyo, preparing us slowly, kwamba anything can happen. So as the media, we need to be very careful on how we report on such issues. Because the platforms we have, now the ongoing of AI, we have social media platforms, and what's the motivation? Ndio mtu uanze kuripoti in such a manner, cause financial gain. Kuna watu tu wanaifanya tu kimchezo. Do you know that some people do it as a fun? As in, anaanzisha tu kwa kitu anasema, nasikia kuna mambo mepangwa, watu watatolewa kwa hiyo forest. Anaitupa tu kwa social media. Then inaanza kuenda. So people believe that this is the truth. Ni kama kuna plan inaendelea mahali fulani ya kufuza watu kwa forest. Maybe someone is just doing it for fun. Just to joke, to prank. And then unapata imeleta shida. So you need to be very careful that you don't just copy and paste whatever that is in social media and use it, in official social media accounts. And mind you, usikuwe professional kwa media house, but kwako kwa hii private social media accounts, you're not professional. And social media doesn't forget actually. So if you're professional kule, hapa pia maintain. Yeah. Na huwa naambianga students every time, once you decide kwamba utafanya journalism, anza tu kwa mwanahabari kutoka hapo tu vile uliamua. Whatever that you post on social media, nini, let's be professional. Then I looked at the challenges that we face while ensuring that we deal with hate speech. Your interpretation bado haijakuwa clear sana about hate speech. Those people kuna hizo ndio watu wanazana bado ndio nini kwa hate speech, nini kwanza kuifanyike ni Eldoret. And of course the court cases nini mkiwa na court cases kuna time consuming in Eldoret. It takes time. For example, politicians tend to use this tactic very much. They utter some words, and as the public, tunaona hii nayo, this is hate speech. But the way they twist, we call it political controversy. Unaona huyu mtu amefungwa kabisa, hii maneno yamesema, huyu ni kabiti. But you know that guy atatokea tu na kwetu hapo basi tunashangaa. Simply because they know how to twist. Mambo kama haya. Unaingia tu kotini anasema by the way I didn't intend to say this. Walinipata vibaya. So unapata tu kuna challenges here. Kama mtu kusema for example, unaona hao wakataya tunapeleka kotini anasema nilikuwa nasema ukiona mtu anachukuliwa na gari tayari mtasuka msaidie kufix. You're the point. Just an example. Then let's avoid propaganda. Because how do you avoid propaganda? Dig beyond fake news. Dig beyond that layer of fake news. Yeah, so that then whatever that you report. Unajua kitambo tulikuwa tunasema this legacy media. Ukiingia tu kwa social media unaangalia unasema hebu tusikize KBC wanasema aje. Because there's that trust from the public. Kwamba achana na mambo na social media. But can you imagine when now there's no trust completely? Sasa public itarelay wapi? So we need to dig beyond that so that then we are able to, and of course desire for political interest. Yeah, I remember during an orientation, I'm about to finish. I remember during orientation, we got told, you're going to analyze. And I remember I did when there was some, campaigns, political campaigns and all that. I was told, unaweza kuwa na mfuasi wako kisiasa. Yeah. But the way you analyze these stories is kwamba you are influenced in a way. Ukiona story yenye unaona iko biased na nia hajapewa, maybe in a story there's no that balance, or maybe in terms of space and airtime, someone unakiangalia unaona fulani politician A ama aspirant A has been given more airtime compared to aspirant B. But because huyu mwenye aspirant A ni mtu ambaye anapenda, I cannot do that story, objective. Tasema wacha tu ipite. There are these, political aspirations, connections and all that should not really interfere with whatever that you are doing. Yeah. Then the question is, that you're doing stories, ensure that you get information from not anyone else. Usikuwe tu ni Fox peke yake, the other community kuja wasikiza. And of course, ensure that the sources are giving you the credible information. Shida yetu kama wanahabari, mimi nikiwa mmoja wao, is that you want to be the first person to break the news. Unajua mimi ndiye imetokea mambo ndio ikasambaa, lakini hii imetokea mambo ikasambaa, iko sawa. Take your time. Take your time. It takes time to build a reputation. It takes time to build a trust. But kuibomoa, and of course, this is what I've just said. If you feel that kuna bias fulani, hata unaweza achia mtu fulani, you feel like you're betraying a friend. But for the public interest, you can even, assign. let's, try to have these connections.
Thank you so much. I just joined another meeting. I hope you may mute. Thank you so much, Mecha, for always being there for us. We appreciate, and especially when you move at the regional level, it helps us a lot. At least you are very close. Thank you. The council has really tried to be centralized, and we are hoping that for this other part of North Rift region, the other colleagues will be there. We are planning on an exchange program. Jemo, where are we supposed to go?
Should be supposed to go to Meru.
Meru?
Yes.
Okay. Western karibu hapo we have to play football.
Yes.
We have to have a football activity between us and our colleagues in Western.
Yes.
Either Busia or Bungoma. Okay, so far people are improving bit by bit, apart from the few issues that come here and there, which are normal for any organization. Guys are really doing well. And the ground. I think Bungoma bought a Nissan for their business ideas. So we're also coming up with ideas that can help us to improve as we proceed. So at this time, I'll have Mr. Dagala maybe just share briefly as we do plenary. And for the plenary, I'll hand over to the chair, James, because umenyamaza sana. And like you're not used to sitting and listening. So as Mr. Dagala shares just briefly, these are young people. We are young people. You've been in this field for long. Briefly just share. As you share also, we are in the plenary session. So chair.
All right. Hamjambo wote. Hamjambo Kenya. Kwa majina naitwa Saul Dagala. Nilianza kazi ya utangazaji nikiwa and I want you to improve. Nilianza kitambo sana, hata kama wengine hamjua. Nilianza 1988. Station yetu ni kama baba na mama. Wazee wote tuwataka wako KBC. Nilianza wakati wa VOK. There was no any other station kwa VOK. Na ile maneno tulikuwa nafanya in brief, watangazaji tulikuwa tunaheshimiwa sana. Mkutano haiwezi kufanywa kabla hatujafika. Lazima tufike ndio ianze. Tulikuwa kama chief guest. Na tulifanya kazi yetu kwa uzuri bila hao wamesema. Sisi tulikuwa tukitangaza kitu kama umeweka maziwa bei kali ama sukari. Ukitangaza ilikuwa inasikizwa. Asubuhi wanavamia hiyo duka. Ukifanya kitu kibaya tukisema ulikuwa unashikwa siku hiyo because they trusted us. Ilikuwa kama sisi ni wale wenye kueneza ujumbe mzuri zaidi. So kwa hivyo nataka na nyinyi mshike mwendo huo. Kama mimi nikienda mahali, I don't need to introduce myself. Unaona, and I want you to do that. Mshike kazi, yani ukifanya kazi yako kuna tofauti categories. Ile unaona unafanya vizuri, kama ni upande wa siasa, kama ni upande wa education, kama ni upande wa field work, kama ni upande wa michezo, itakupeleka mbali kabisa. Kwa hivyo langu nawataka kuweka bidii. Ushike kazi yenu kabisa. Fanya kazi hata uweke jina lako liwe juu. Anasema we know such a ina kikuja story nzuri kwa vile nani anasema balance it. Upate intro ya kuingiza hiyo story. Unaweza pata story lakini ile mwanzo wake intro peke yake inakuangusha. Wewe kama ukiandika ama ukitangaza watu wanasema tumesikia kitu fulani and it was true. So nawatakia katika mafunzo haya mzidi kuongeza maarifa, muwe kama sisi. Usileteni. Hayo wakati nasema Mungu awabariki.
Mr. Dagala, asante sana always for being there for us and supporting the young journalists who are coming. And you're unique because you're one of the only legends within the industry who's always had time to hold hands to the young upcoming journalists. wengi pengine hawana time ama pengine hawajapenda kusaidia wale ambao wanaibukia. So tumpongeze tena kwa sababu ya kuja. We promised to be half day, and of course we are within our timelines. 6 minutes to go, 5 minutes to go. Anyone with a burning concern that they would want to raise, and of course special thanks to our facilitators, our guests who created time out of their busy schedule to be here with us, share experiences, the interaction with AI, including our students. Ambao wengine wamesema mambo makubwa, you know, I felt like I'm cheating, I felt like I'm coming down or something. It's our experiences with AI. And please don't shy away from using AI, because as it was noted behind there, it is the future. We may not run away from this technology. The only thing that we might do is learn on how to live with it, leverage on it, and of course something sensitive was mentioned. Every day that you're using AI, it is sharing your contacts. Also take your time to learn AI, because there's a way you can also log out on how AI is sharing your personal details that you input into it. So I think there will be need to have, I hope Mecha will be coming soon, there will be need to have a training targeted at how to maximize an AI. Because many of us are just using it, putting details, asking it on what to do. But in terms of data and privacy or information, there is so much that needs to be learned. Any comment as we sign out? And of course, special thanks. This would not have happened without the support of the Kenya Correspondent Association, KCA, and UNESCO, and of course our longtime partner and friend, the Media Council of Kenya. A word of thanks from our team, and I wish to at this juncture ask the chair of the WPF committee to stand with their team. They made this possible. They worked tirelessly hard in the past few days. Please, Smameni, we appreciate you. Yes, we have Edmond who worked there. Please, Chair, you can also mention your team, if you don't mind. Just mention your team.
So thank you so much. The success of this event has been successful through the dedication and hard work. So they will introduce themselves as some.
Thank you so much for coming to this event.
Okay, thank you so much.
Okay.
My name is Makema Kimafi, and I was part of the team. And I want to thank you all for being here today. Thank you for showing up.
Asante.
Habari ya mchana.
Jema.
Naitwa Charity. Nilikuwa part ya team, na washukuru sana kwa kuja leo. Tunasema asante.
So can we raise a vote of thanks, and then we'll have a word of prayer, unless there is a burning comment that is left, a recommendation to us or even to the Media Council.
Manu was supposed to tell us why he does not use
Sure, we'll give you an opportunity.
his real name.
Yes, before you do your vote of thanks, you can hand it over to him. While he's using his pseudonym, there's a practice that has been there.
And then
yeah.
I think there'll be a group photo.
Yes.
And the kitchen department says
After the group photo, we'll have a press briefing outside there with our guests.
My advice goes to the media fraternity and the civil society, especially Kenyans. And I'm here for some time. I'm 16 years old and I'm 37 months. So whatever I want to tell you in the media, I suppose the veteran should be here. the future of media in Kenya and in Africa, in East Africa, is in dilemma. Because when you are in the newsroom, the story came in, you have an idea to put the headline. The other person saying you are targeting my community or my leader. So that one you need to be in the newsroom as journalists, not to be a certain group. Another one again, issues of a brown envelope. Brown envelope comes, you are the one, you yourself remain in the community. Because those politicians, they usually go on top, saying that, you know, that guy, I know him. I gave him something, even if small thing, he will just do that story. So that can also keep our media in a dim light. Another one again is a profiling. This is sometime I've been here also. Chairman, you will not be surprised when we are covering GNC here. I travel out of the country. When I landed in JKIA, one of the security guys approached me, calling my name. I said, I saw you in Eldoret covering a protest. What came to my mind, I said, no, it might be somebody, it's not me. He said, no, I saw you between Daima Tower and that light guy. I said, I know, it's not me. He said, no, I saw you. I said, sir, I'm not the one. You see, we have been identified. So let us be careful. Let us disseminate very right information. Whether the person is giving you money and you look at the stories that can cause harm to the society, just keep it. That one should go to the editors of the newsroom. Keep that story and go for more investigations. So let us be objectives. Objectivity is required in the media house. Another one again, the Media Council, you are here. We are here sometime. We have issues when coming to accreditation. We've been accredited sometime. It goes a long process. The ID we have is for refugees sometime. Then it expires after 5 years. But when you go to renew it again, the other one expired, it is very hard for you to be given. So that one you should have also to consider the refugee community, wherever they are. You should have to keep them like the host. Because we are not going anywhere, because we are here for a reason. Because like me, I have problem with the government of South Sudan. That's why I'm here. I'm very critical on issues of human rights, issues of corruption, all this. So it keeps me not to go back to Juba. I'm just around here. So any foreign journalist also should be considered like a host. TJ was the first person also I just and then the media hub. But it is very hard for us to get a first card. So that one you should have also to put it on your meeting that what can we do to these people? Yeah, so thank you.
Thank you very much. Before I hand it over to you, I forgot to mention one thing. Yeah.
Briefly, to the Media Council there. Recently, we had an issue with you remember the issue of the power when they came here. Yeah. Most media houses at times they want an information from a government agency and they deny journalists. That's an infringement. So I don't know how the Media Council will assist. You find somebody saying, I don't give media briefs, I don't give such a, and they've been written a letter. So this is something that we are really particular about this one. The Bushman are also working on it. And we have issues with the ODPP and other agencies. So how best would you assist your media persons? Because these are areas where stories are killed. Thank you.
It's part of the threats that you're talking about. Access to information remains a big challenge within the counties in the region. In particular case in studies what happened in West Pokot. Journalists were working on a story and they engaged in writing the county commissioner in that particular place, and the response was a weird one. We don't converse government issues on the media, and so we were denied relevant critical information on matters learned since government officers had been adversely mentioned in the ongoing land saga in West Pokot. The panelists, we are gender sensitive. gender mainstreaming is a key thing for us, even at the Media Hub. Even looking at the WPF committee, we invited them. Apparently, some of them could not make it, including the representative of people living with disabilities at the county assembly on that issue. So we take note of that.
Thank you so much, Chair. So our uttermost thanks goes to, of course, UNESCO, who are the facilitators of this particular event. We also want to thank KCA in a very special way. We also have Transparency International that is represented by Tom Juma. We really appreciate. Of course, we are very grateful for the office, that is the Wasingishu Journalist Association office. As the committee, we work, we borrowed our powers from the organization, so we really thank you for the trust that you give us. I also want to thank the 4 members of my committee. They really did well until around 9 yesterday. They were still in this office to make sure that everything is in order. We also want to give our special thanks to Joseph Kabudi for transportation, to say yes and where to visit all offices. And without his assistance, I think it will go in time. We want to especially thank the Media Council of Kenya and Joseph Meche is here. He's been with us. He's really supported this office in a big way. We have the CSOs. We really thank you for your presence. On the issue of gender, we invited a lot of, let's say, female CSOs, but they sent the representatives who happen to be male. So in our panel, we would have females, but they send their representatives. So thank you so much, CSO, Kena Collins, Kimutai Kirui was very instrumental in giving us insights on human interest. We really thank you. The journalists, we really appreciate our panelists from Timothy Simon. Thank you so much for making this day a success, and of course, all journalists who have attended. Also our students who assisted us in rearranging this place. We are really grateful. Lastly, we have our service providers. I think Esther is around there. And Kisha Komba Tumapata Chai. We really thank her for our services. Otherwise, we maybe in the technical area, there is a list that was distributed. I don't know, there's someone who picked it by mistake. Blank paper that has, it should be a list. So if you have it, can you provide? And then if you have not given your details, your name, your phone number, and your signature, please remain behind so that you can collect those details for recording purposes. I thank you so much, and God bless you. Thank you. So we can stand for our